Hi there. Welcome to today's ramble, reflection, whatever. Today what we're doing is Help I Can't Do Church, It's Boring. And I have a couple of thoughts I wanted to kind of chew over in your direction to help kind of engage with this. Several years ago, I was on my motorbike, went to work, getting off my bike, getting sorted, and a new guy arrived at work called Tim. Tim, proper leathers, nice looking motorbike. He's just started that day. And he starts talking to me about what he'd been doing on his motorbike that weekend. And he must have seen the look in my eye, because as he started talking about, I think, things like Yoshimura bits and bobs and what he'd been doing on his motorbike over the weekend, he kind of, I think, saw this kind of confused look in my face. Like, what are you on about? What? and I suppose it kind of expressed the difference between me and him. One, I rode a motorbike. He was a biker. Quite a different species. So consequently, once he started talking to me about adjusting his carburettor and putting on new exhaust pipes, I was in a different world. I didn't know what he was on about. Now, if I'd have been sat in a pub with this guy and he'd have done this for any amount of time, pretty soon I'd have gone from slightly confused to really kind of sidling away and being really bored by him. He wasn't a boring guy. He was a lovely guy. But he was a biker. I rode a bike. And I think that encapsulates a key difference about our relationship with church, going to church. And it's to do with identity. Around here, for example, an opening gambit in any conversation is, are you a gardener? Or do you like gardening? Tell us about your garden. And everything in me screams, "Argh!" Because I'm not a gardener. I do my garden because it's there and I have to. And I am so bored when I do the garden, it almost hurts. Because I'm not a gardener. When I do my garden, it's because I happen to live in a place that has a garden. But a gardener, they're creative. It's to do with their identity. It's how they relate to the world. It's how they how they use their time. It's everything about their being is connected to their gardening, and a psychologist would probably call it flow. But for someone like me, it bores me like it hurts. And I know that's exactly how people are going to come to church if what you do is you come to church as a church goer rather than as a follower of Jesus. Because the one is about something you're just kind of doing because maybe you have to, maybe you feel you ought to, maybe your mum took you, whatever. The other bit of you is actually church going then becomes part of an overall identity, way of being, way of relating to the world. So church, even if it is on occasions kind of boring sometimes, actually it's part of a whole suite of things we do that are about who we are and who we're becoming. So that's the number one point about church being boring. If you just think you've got to go to church with some kind of sense of duty, it's boring. Oh boy, it's boring. If actually what it is part of the who you are, it completely changes it. The other thing I want to talk about is the issue of, I guess we broadly call it consumerism, and the idea of work versus leisure and how we use our leisure time. And most of us treat church as leisure time. Well, I have to tell you, if what you're doing is thinking of church as how you use your leisure time, then you're going to just resent it. Because quite honestly, if you wanted to have a high quality entertainment of your time, don't go to church. That's just not what it is. It's a bit like going to McDonald's and expecting a 5-course meal. It just isn't that. McDonald's is what it is, and a 5-course meal in a posh restaurant is also what it is. I mean, I went to the cinema at Christmas with my mum to the IMAX 3D Star Wars thing. Believe me, that was entertainment. Church is not that. And so I think if we perceive it as use of leisure time, rather than again coming back to this issue of are we a biker or are we someone who rides a motorbike, then again, not only are we going to be bored, we're going to resent the way it robs us of our time. So I guess that I'm saying that because I think those of us who talk about church often, I think, get caught into the trap of thinking, we ask, how are we going to get people to come to church? Well, kind of, that's not the question. That's not the issue. The issue is to ask, are we really communicating that going to church isn't the thing, but being a follower of Jesus, having our identity, our being and our lifestyle changed and transformed is the thing. And church can maybe help with that. There you go.